Hi there, I'm Danni and I'm the host of the podcast, What Are You Going to Do With That? And in this series of short videos on our YouTube channel with the same name, we're trying to give you some tips and advice from early career researchers to ECRs. If you have any suggestions on what our next video should be about, please let us know in the comments below and connect with us on social media. In this video, I'd like to talk with you about writer's block and how to overcome when it happens to you. This is something that happens to everyone, from the most experienced writers to the newbies in the field. And it doesn't only happen in the academic world, it also happens to journalists and to novelists. So this is something very common, and you shouldn't feel like it's something weird that's only happening to you. So what is a writer's block? It's when you're sitting in front of your computer and just staring at that blank page, and you're trying real hard to get a few words on paper, but you might not really know how to start, or there's simply nothing. Your mind is just blank and you don't know how to put your words on paper. So this common misperception about having writer's block is that you simply have no idea what you're doing, or that you're not talented enough. And as I said, this is a misconception and not true. Like I said, it also happens to everyone. So what really causes writer's block? Well, research has shown that most often it is caused by anxiety or feelings of self-doubt. So this is where the imposter syndrome comes in, right? When you feel that you're not actually good enough, or that you're not 100% sure that you are the expert going to talk about your particular topic and research, and that at any moment someone could come in and say, "What the hell do you think you're doing? What are you talking about? You're not an expert." This is something we will also talk about in another video, so stay tuned. In addition to that self-doubt that you might be experiencing that stops you from writing your things down, is that you could be constrained by the rules of writing, especially in the academic writing. Or you could simply be overburdened. In the end, we're all humans, and we're not made to work full power all the time. So the exhaustion can actually affect your writing abilities. Just like there are different causes to writer's block, there are also different steps you could take to get you over and past that writer's block. And this is very individually of what works for you and what might not. But it could be worth to try at least a few of them. And the first one is simply take a break. If the cause is really that you're exhausted, nothing else but a nap might actually help to get you back into the game. But also simply taking a break, walking away from your desk and do something else, even if it's just the laundry or go for a walk. It might sound like procrastination to you, but it actually really helps clear your mind so you can come back later to the work with a fresh eye and start over. Then there's also the idea of jump ahead. So you don't always have to start writing at the very beginning with that first paragraph or introduction. It could help if you just write a different part that is coming in later into the story, so that you can write what is on your mind at the time, and then see later on how that fits into the overall picture. Instead of jumping ahead, you could also go back, right? It might help you to go back to the beginning of your writing and to read all of that you've done so far once again. You might find where it is you went off track in the writing, or you might suddenly find out what it is to obviously continue writing with. What works for some people, but honestly doesn't necessarily work for me, is to create your own deadline. For some people, it really helps them to focus and to force themselves to push through and to make decisions that otherwise they would never make. So give that one a try. What does help me personally is to visualize. When you visualize, you could move away your computer a little bit and start doodling Maybe it helps if you make a graph that came out of your mind based on what it is you want to write about. Or maybe you want to make a whole new scheme with post-its and different ideas on your table. Or you could just write with pen and paper instead of on the computer. Sometimes really working on this with your hands and your eyes could really open up this creativity and a new way of thinking that will help you get back to that computer and keep writing. Another step you could take to get you past that writer's block is free writing. With free writing, you just sit and write. You don't think about grammar, spelling, or correct sentences. You don't think too much about it all making sense. You just write. It really helps to push through that block and to open up a new way of thinking. So keep writing, keep a timer for like 10 minutes or so for one session, and go at it. So while you're at your desk, you should also really think about what your ideal writing space is. Is your phone distracting you a bit too often from continuing writing? Then maybe it's an idea to ban your phone from the room. Does it help you to have some background music while you write to keep the flow going? Or does it actually stop you from keeping in that flow? Try to figure out different things in the space that you have with the lighting, with the chair you're in, that might help you to be more into the mood and the flow of writing. And then the last thing I wanted to mention is to consider joining a writing group. A writing group that meets regularly helps to go over your work, to discuss it, and also to get constructive feedback. Now, in addition to the feedback, it's actually helpful to learn from the experience that others bring to the table, and also to create a little bit of that deadline for yourself again, right? Because at every meeting, you'll probably have to show what it is you've done since the last one. Now, I'm wondering what helps you to get past a writer's block, and if you have any tips and advice that we haven't mentioned yet for your peers. If you do, please comment below, and also connect with us on social media so we can discuss it more. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast where we have more tips and advice, and also to this YouTube channel to get notifications of the new video.